Hi, everybody. Douglas V. Gibbs here, Mr. Constitution. And I was looking at something earlier on Chicks on the Right. Chicksonright.com, Chicks on the Right, name of the website. And here's the headline of the article. Biden administration tells Americans to turn in radicalized family and friends to the government to root out domestic terrorism. Now, we saw this kind of thing happen also under the Obama administration. We've heard various Democrats and other politicians voice that they would like to see this kind of thing. And we've seen this type of activity from every single tyrannical dictator in history. Because the thing about anything that is tyrannical is they cannot handle, they cannot stand, and they cannot allow opposition, opposing argument, because the truth, might, root them out. And so I wanted to tell you a little bit about what's in the article and then my constitutional thinking on this. So the Biden administration is calling for American citizens to inform the government of radicalized family members of friends, which is a trick the Nazis used, according to BizPac Review. Normally, I'm not a BizPac Review reader, but this is what Chicks on the Right is putting on here. The link for BizPac Review, go to bizpacreview.com and you look for the article named Biden administration urging Americans to turn in radicalized family friends under guise of domestic terrorism. Merrick Garland, the U.S. Attorney General, we need, and I quote, we need not only a whole government approach, but a whole of society approach. If anybody's different, if they think a little different, make sure you turn them in. I remember that a movie that was kind of, this is thought crime, right? You're guilty before you do something because of your behavior, because of your activity, and what you're doing is going to lead you to this crime. So we're going to stop you before you do something. What was that movie, Minority Report, with Tom Cruise? Yeah. And I continue to quote, we must not only bring our federal resources to bear, we must adopt a broader societal response to tackle the problem's deeper roots. Because, you're thinking things that are anti-government, you must be stopped. President Biden tasked the intelligence and law enforcement communities during his first week in office to produce a comprehensive assessment of today's domestic violent extremist threat. Who's the violent extremist to these people? Anyone disagrees with them, especially someone who's a Christian, believes in the Constitution. Rest my case. The goal underpinning that assessment was to establish a factual basis about the risk that domestic terrorists pose, upon which we could then formulate a strategy and an implementation plan for countering domestic terrorism. An unclassified summary of that baseline study was released in March. And it found that domestic violent extremists motivated by a range of ideologies, a range of ideologies that doesn't agree with them, pose an elevated threat to our country in 2021. With racially or ethnically motivated violent extremists and racially and ethnically motivated. Because, see, if you disagree with them, you're automatically racist anyway. States' rights, state sovereignty, liberty, those are all racist trigger words, don't you know? And specifically those who espouse the superiority of the white race, which I'm sure those people are out there. But most of the people being accused of that don't believe that. But I tell you what, if we had a superiority of the white race problem in existence, then wouldn't we have, white entertainment television, the white congressional caucus? We would have black universities, black only dance clubs, or white only, I'm sorry. Now you already got backwards now. White only, but dance clubs, white only universities. We have black only universities. We have, we have the black, caucus. We have, instead of the NAACP, so it would be the NAAWP. No, we don't have those things. That's because this white supremacy garbage is not in control of society. If anything, it might even be an opposite problem in some sectors of a particular community. I'm not even going to say the whole community because, gosh, I know an awful lot of folks in that community and in minority communities who agree with me and know this is all a bunch of junk, but that's beside the point. All right, so to continue, we will work to improve public awareness of federal resources to address concerning or threatening behavior before violence occurs. Pre-crime, Minority Report. We're gonna stop the crime before it happens. I thought you weren't you guilty until you've been proven guilty, and you had to commit something. Oh no, we just know you're going to, so we're gonna stop you before you do it. I'd like to see that police report. This involves contexts. This is the administration's wording. This involves creating contexts in which those who are family members or friends or coworkers know that there are pathways and avenues to raise concerns and seek help for those. Seek help, because you're sick, because you disagree with them. There's something really seriously wrong with you. You disagree with them, you're sick, and you need to be turned in so that you can, be re-educated, so you can be healthy. For those who they have perceived to be radicalizing and potentially radicalizing towards violence. I seem to remember fascist countries, communist countries who did the same thing. Have the children turn in the parents, have neighbors go against neighbors. I remember I was talking to someone who grew up in a communist country, and they were telling me how everybody kind of stayed local. They didn't really travel, like is happening now because of COVID. And the police had a dossier or record for every single person in that community. And that there was a financial police. This was a person who I was talking to who's from Romania. Communist Romania. And there was a financial police who you could report to if someone had things that were nicer than what you had, because equality. So it's not just opposition and disagreement, but anything goes outside of equality, we're going to turn you in for daring to have a possession that might be nicer or more valuable than the possessions of your neighbor. That's the kind of stuff this is. Now, I promise the United States Constitution. Let's open it up to Amendment 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects. In other words, your possessions, the things you own, regardless of value. Against unreasonable searches and seizures. Do you think being reported by someone for getting ready to commit a crime that you never committed is reasonable or unreasonable? And no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. In other words, there must be hard evidence. No person shall be held to, this is Amendment 5, no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury. In other words, government can't just detain you for the hell of it. Except in cases arising in the land and naval forces or in the militia, okay. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life and limb, double jeopardy. Nor shall be compelled to in any criminal case to be a witness against himself. You have the right to remain silent. Nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. That's the key right there. Getting turned in and you're detained because someone tattled on you for having an opinion, or you could be radicalized, you could be dangerous, but you've done nothing illegally. Is that due process? Have we gone through the criminal activity and proven beyond a shadow of a doubt reasonable doubt, I'm sorry, for those of you legal eagles, beyond reasonable doubt that you're guilty or the person has done something? Has that been achieved in this scenario that the Biden administration is presenting to us? Amendment 6. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial. I wonder if the Biden administration wants these things to be public. You know what? The people being seized for January 6th by the FBI and held on little or no evidence, are they receiving their due process? Is it public for them? No. By an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation. Can you imagine being informed of the cause of the accusation on this one? Well, we think you're radical. You might disagree with us, so we're detaining you because we know you're going to explode something. Really? That's the nature and cause of the accusation. To be confronted with the witnesses against him. These family members and friends can be able to do this anonymously, or am I going to be able to face my accusers? And to have a compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor. I have a feeling that's not in the Biden plan. And to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. The whole system's corrupt, so that's going to be a tough one too. Innocent until proven guilty. Due process. I was watching a John Birch Society video that had a scenario to show how we're different from the rest of the world. How we have a system that is not just a basic democracy, but a republic, and has a fair justice system. And so on the scenario, on the video, it has this murderer who's run off, and a posse of 35 go chasing after him. They capture him. They bring him back. They vote 34-1 to have him hanged. They throw the rope over the highest limb, and they hang him. Democracy is won. Sounds kind of like what's going on with the Biden administration. But in our country, same thing happens. Posse of 35 goes after the murderer, brings it back 34-1. They vote to hang him. And then the sheriff shows up and says, wait a second, boys. He has his rights. He has his rights to a fair and impartial jury. And even then, it's not just a majority vote. In criminal prosecution, it takes a unanimous vote. Because even if the person is believed to be a criminal, the founding fathers believe they had their rights. You have your rights until you are absolutely beyond a reasonable doubt proven to be guilty. Not because some family member thinks you might be dangerous because you have a 3%er sticker on your coat, a Trump sticker in the back of your window, and a gun in the closet. Which brings us to another section of the Constitution, Article 3, Section 3, where it talks about treason. And this is what they are suggesting, because treason against them is treason against government, and treason against government is treason against the country, because they want you to have love of government, not love of country. Treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them, levying war against the states, or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. No person shall be convicted of treason unless on the testimony of two witnesses of the same overt act, two witnesses. I guarantee you there's not a two-witness requirement here with the Biden rule, or on confession in open court. The Congress shall have power to declare the punishment of treason. And this ties into reparations too, but listen carefully. But no attainder of treason shall work corruption of blood or forfeiture except during the life of the person attainted. No corruption of blood. In other words, You can't be guilty for what your forefathers, your father, your grandfather, your mother, or somebody else did. Because even people who've committed treason are responsible for their own actions and have rights until duly convicted. This is not due process. What we're talking about with this administration and radicalized people being turned in by friends and family, that is not even close to what the founding fathers had in mind. This is tyranny. This is a dictatorship. This is a paranoid leadership seeking power and seeking to silence anybody and everybody that stands against them. This is in violation of the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the Sixth Amendment, the Eighth Amendment, the Treason Clause, and much of Article 3. We have due process in this country. You cannot be held and convicted without due process. And if there's no crime committed, you can't be arrested, or you're not supposed to be. This is what they're talking about. But they're using mental health. We need to help these people to bring them to the truth. I don't know which comes to mind first. Minority Report, 1984, One Perfect Day by the same guy that wrote Rosemary's Baby, or a whole list of other science fiction dystopian type novels that I've read in which the tyranny of the future is doing exactly what this administration is suggesting they want to do. The United States Constitution was written with the first word saying "we the people." Not we the lawyers, not we the judges, not we the politicians, not we the tyrants. It is our document and is there to protect us from this kind of thing. But the Constitution is not being followed, is it? Thanks for watching.